Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Cronin. I'm the Senior Neonatal Physiotherapist in CUMH. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about tummy time in your newborn baby. So tummy time is when your baby is flat on their tummy on the floor or on a supported surface, ideally on a blanket, I suppose. Tummy time is always supervised. Tummy time is when your baby is awake and engaged, and tummy time is not for sleeping. Tummy time is important for two reasons. In the 1990s, the American Association for Pediatrics made a recommendation that all babies sleep on their backs. As a result of this, babies are spending less time on their tummies. Secondly, as a result of very complex travel systems nowadays, babies are spending a lot of time in car seats and so equally get very little opportunity to spend time on their tummies. Benefits of tummy time include strengthening shoulder, neck muscles and head muscles and getting the all-important head control. Secondly, it helps to prevent flat head syndrome or your baby developing an asymmetrical head shape. And thirdly, it helps to develop early motor skills. So things like reaching, crawling, rolling, sitting, and long-term walking are all facilitated by early tummy time. So you start tummy time from birth. Tummy time really is the start of active play every day. What I would like you to do is try and spend periods of 3 to 6 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day with your baby on the floor. Tummy time is not supposed to be torture time, so do make sure you spend time down in front of your baby, making eye contact and having the chats. As your baby becomes more tolerable of the position, you can start increasing the amount of time in tummy time to 30 to 40 minutes a day. Ideally, babies should be spending about 3 hours in active play every day, and as your baby reaches over the age of 5, that should reduce to about 1 hour once they become school going. So we all know that newborn babies love being on their mother's chest. This is a really nice way to initiate your tummy time experience. So you can start in an upright position like this and then recline a little bit more as your baby gets stronger so that the baby starts to lift and turn their head in this elevated position. This is where you're supporting the baby's chest and thorax and maybe just bringing the elbows in under the shoulders so that they have the best chance to try and lift and turn their head from this position. So once your baby's gotten used to being in this posture, you can start transitioning them down to the floor. So ideally it's nicer if you can support the baby on the floor in a slightly elevated position for the upper trunk and the legs are not supported. In this posture, you can bring the elbows in under the shoulders and the baby has a better chance of learning to lift and turn the head. Again, in this posture, you're looking at getting down and maintaining eye contact with your baby, having the chats in this position and also making sure that there's things that they can look at and be interested in this position. So little black and white board books, a little mirror, something that they can be looking at or maybe starting to swipe at as they get older. Progressing from there, then you can remove this and maybe put them flat. Now, if you find the baby is going quite face flat like that, you might adjust it a little bit. They give them a little roll, particularly once they hit about 3 months. You can put a little roll under their shoulders like this, and this time you're having the hands over the roll, and here they're definitely at a stage where they're starting to swipe and reach for toys in this position. Again, you might find that you have to push your hand just on the baby's trunk to give them a little bit of extra support, and again, lots of chat and eye contact or FaceTime in this position. So this would be another alternative for tummy time, or if they're not tolerating this position, maybe just cross your legs so that the chest is higher than the pelvis. It's quite handy if you have other siblings at home or something here like the dog or something just to distract the baby in the position. So just to reiterate, this is your tummy time position for play during the day. So little and often, as I said, really important position to try and prevent that flat head syndrome, the plagiocephalus, and to try and encourage your baby to look and turn their head to both sides in this position. If you find that your baby has got a preference for one side, that's not normal. We do try and encourage symmetry in babies at this age, so do make sure that the baby turns their head to both sides equally. If a baby turns their head to one side all the time, it would be important to try and reposition the baby on their non-favoured side. Otherwise, your baby will have a flat head on one side and sometimes can cause asymmetry of the ears and some facial deformities as well. So it's better to nip that in the bud if you can. With that position where, say, you have a preference for the right side, sometimes, say, if you're always feeding the baby from the right side, for example, then it encourages the baby's head to turn to the right. If, for example, that same baby is in a bouncer, a seater system on the floor, and your kitchen is to the right of that, then you can see then how that baby would develop a preference for the right side. So just bear in mind that, side lying on the playmat on the opposite side is a really nice way of trying to nip that in the bud In fact, side lying on the playmat is highly recommended to try and encourage early reaching and rolling and preventing that flat head syndrome. Another way of getting a little bit more left head turn would be to do a little position like this, which is called the tiger in the tree. This is quite a nice way to hold a newborn baby, particularly if they're quite irritable with maybe reflux or colicky or anything like that. And obviously a little bit of a rock, or if you're walking around the house in this position, they can settle quite easily with a bit of tapping and that as well. So ideally, I suppose what we're looking for in terms of tummy time is that your baby develops head control roughly around the 3-month mark. If your baby has not developed head control by about 5 months, it might be best to contact your GP. In terms of milestone acquisition, this handout from the HSE is really helpful and goes through what you should expect at the various stages. But again, if you had any concerns where your baby wasn't achieving those within a reasonable time scale, or if your baby was regressing in any way, your GP would be your first port of call. So I know this is a little bit further down the line as you're looking at this as the mother of a newborn baby perhaps, but you may get some presents over the coming weeks. Some of them may include things like walkers or door jamb jumpers. They're not recommended in terms of encouraging normal motor development. The main reason for this is when a baby is in a walker or a door jamb jumper, and don't get me wrong, they love them. So please just don't put them in them to begin with, and then you won't have this problem. But anyway, the toes reach for the floor and cause shortening and tightening in the muscles at the back of the leg. And so when the baby comes out of the walker or door jamb jumper, they're inclined to toe walk, which causes problems further down the line in normal gait pattern.